However, to state it's going to completely redefine and rewrite the game or such is doubtful. I can see this working in TVP or even in TVT to a point. In TVT, but vulture mass harass early on is something this will 100% be subjected to.
Now watch this. He can't get through. Look at that. He can't get through. Completely defended.
So it will only really work in TVT versus a more tech-eco build opener, but can 100% work provided you are able to defend versus the mass vulture, mass war.
Completely defended.
Falling off or such is 100% something to consider with some tanks behind to defend, then counter his mass tanks with your BCS. I can see this working, but seeing it be weak, counter to heavy vulture builds.
Completely defended.
Which currently is popular right now in the top tier of TVT, where PPL are going 3 factory, no real add-on, just massing vultures with 20 plus in your base before the 6 minutes mark. The fact you don't understand how the current TVT meta is and why it is part of the problem.
Completely defended.
Why I don't see it currently working. When it goes back to getting mass tanks, I can see getting BCS.
This doesn't work. Even one tank here is like just so good. So GG. If I win a game with tank BC, pretty cool, I would say.
Why I don't see it currently working. In TVP, right now the power of a DT or a Reaver in your base fast and killing all your workers is super strong, not to mention some early Zealot Dragoon pressure. You need a way to defend versus this.
Going for standard like FD build, like I'm gonna get mines and plant them in the front of my base, so to stop Dark Templar. I already scouted this for Proxy Robo, so I didn't scout this right away. So I'm already safe against the DTs. One DT will die here. We'll just hit this mine and this one. Even 2 like will be I can deal with. He should have stacked his Dragoon, but I do have I already have turrets. So he loses the DT. Now here's where the fun starts.
While still trying to get BC Rush, I don't see BC Rush in the 6 to 8 minutes range vied at all in TVP because of how TVP is. 1 to 2 Zealots is enough to destroy a Terran player early on when rushed out and you don't micro well enough. Dragoon plus range is next, and it's also super strong. You need tank versus Dragoon plus range. BCS will not cut it. Once that start is done, then going into BC Rush is something I can kinda see provided UD versus the DT Reaver with units you got already, build as D, but I see the BC more of the 8 to 12 minutes range in that matchup just cause of what you have to do early game to survive. Then you just gotta worry about Arbiter going statis K thanks come again. Which Protoss is known to rush to as well.
Uses a panic stasis. 6 battlecruisers showing up. Now he's like, oh wait, what? He's like, what is this? And I even have they're upgraded. I have armor and attack. So he's gotta be thinking like, what the hell? I'll stasis that, try and buy some time. This guy is thinking like, what is this crazy guy doing? Why does he have BCs?
So provided the P player ISNT doing that, then I totally can kinda see a BC popping out and helping out. Keyword helping out. Them alone will not run over and win the match for you like it can in TVT cause of mass vultures, tank.
He's got like, at this point, he's just like, is this real? Is this guy a StarCraft player? Like, this is what happens, guys, when old school Brood War players come to the new school with some new ideas. Like, look at it, look at this. I mean, he's already dead. Like, he's been dead for a long time, and he just leaves the game.
Keyword helping out. Them alone will not run over and win the match for you. In short, I can see it working in TVT, I can see it semi-possible in TVP, I don't see it in TVZ.
Yo, hey guys. So you may have just seen the the start of this video. It looks like I made some of the Brood War elitists a little angry, and one of them popped up in the comments there. Exhibit A. But does it not work? It doesn't work, does it? Oh, but it does work. So it's kind of interesting that every Brood War elitist does. And I'm not trying to like roast that guy too hard that made that YouTube comment, but that is exactly what a Brood War elitist is. A Brood War elitist will tell you 800 different ways how something can't work, and then when it works, they're like, oh no, it shouldn't be working because that's not the correct way to play this. You're not doing this correctly. Like, this is the established way to do things. Like, I've been playing this game for 20 years, and like I'm I know what I'm doing. Like, if the pros don't do it, like I don't understand, guys. I don't understand why Brood War elitists are Brood War elitists in the first place. They're very close-minded when it comes. I mean, I guess it's because like they feel like they've been playing the game so many years that if you do something different, even a tiny bit different, then it's not the right way to play. Newsflash: there is no right way to play. The right way is to win the game, and there are better ways to play that people come up with, like myself. And so, TVT, I've made my style work. TVP, I made it work a game. I won with BCs. So here we go, guys. I've done it. I have done it. I have broken the Brood War meta completely in all 3 matchups. TVZ, here we come. It's not possible. You can't do that. It's not No, there's no way. There's no way you did it. It won't work. I don't, as the guy, I don't see it in TVZ. You're about to see it, and you're about to believe. And you're about to believe hard. Here we go, guys. Avilo, myself, breaking the TVZ meta in Brood War. You are about to witness something amazing. aviloSoAmaze. So I'm the orange Terran in the bottom left, and we have in the bottom right the red Zerg guy. 3 random letters. Obviously a Smurf. And so, guys, what is this? What is the big deal of what I'm bringing my style, my StarCraft 2 refine. I'm bringing my StarCraft 2 refined style to Brood War, and people will copy this. Absolutely, people will copy it. There's gonna be, again, there's always, whenever an innovator, an inventor, paradigm breaking person comes along with new ideas and stuff, they're always told, that won't work, this won't work, like, you're not good enough, like this, but it's untrue. You have to be confident in yourself. You have to believe in yourself, and I believe that I know what I'm doing, and that my theory always has been correct. Not correct. I hate the word correct. There is no correct. I believe that it's optimal. What I'm doing, theoretically, that it has value. So, it might be incorrect, but again, there is no correct or incorrect. I'm not trying to go full Confucius or anything here, or philosophical, but there is no correct when it comes to this stuff. There's optimal, and there's theory crafting, and there's things that could potentially be viable and work or not work depending on what someone's doing or not doing at the current time. And what I'm about to showcase to you here in Brood War TVZ is very StarCraft 2-esque, and it will work. Players better than myself, Korean pro gamers in Brood War, people that are at A rank, S rank right now, will be able to utilize what I'm doing. Even they might not understand initially how to do it or why it's good, but they will end up doing it. It's good. If you know what I mean. Just like Ghost Lockdown, people started using that recently because they realized, oh, it's good against carriers. It just took a long time for people to be good enough to get to that point to use it. So, this guy, I sniffed out his, what's it called, I realized he was going for lings. I did scout that, and I had an idea, and I built a safety bunker, so I managed to survive here. He went for, like, he was trying to do, like, a ling bust. If I didn't have the bunker, might have been unsafe. 2 SCVs to block, just in case I don't want him to get by. And I'm playing I have an armory. eBay going down. I actually messed up and forgot my add-on. So I'm going 2-Fact Goliath, armory researching +1 armor, because people do that sometimes. Wanted to try it out. And, yeah. Now, what I didn't know this game, and maybe I should keep it as a surprise, but he has a hive building right now. He actually has a hive building. And I did not scout this. If we go to my vision, I thought this was going to... This guy essentially did a hardcore cheese. Like, I'm building Goliaths and prepping for the mutas, which most players in Brood War are going for the mutas. I should honestly... I keep forgetting. It's like, how do I put the... Let's see. Sound... The game timer, there we go. That's actually very useful. Alright, so we got the game timer there. So again, I'm prepping for mutas because everybody goes mutas. So I have Goliaths. This depot I will kill to have better flow of units through my base in a moment. That's the one downside of walling off. You eventually have to kill your depot at the wall if you want your units to be able to, you know, move easier through your base in Brood War. Now again, I am like, where's the mutas? Like, no mutas? And it turns out he went 2-base Defiler Rush with lurkers. No mutas at all. This is like a hyper cheese. No one expects this, guys. No one ever expects this in Brood War. Like, I have Goliath, I have Goliath range. I'm actually researching Vulture speed to send out 2 Vultures at a time to go harass bases. But of course, in this case, those bases don't exist because he went, like, yeah, he got that up, but this guy went for, like, extremely fast Defiler Rush. So again, sending out pairs of Vultures to harass with, and I just, and at this point, I did know, I already saw I'm like, wait, he's going to Lurker Ling all in me? I did not expect Defilers right now. I thought 100% that this is, I thought he was just doing Ling Lurker. He's going to try and bust my natural. So this guy is doing something that is not exactly meta as well, in my opinion. People don't usually rush Defiler that fast. Almost ever, to be honest. They usually go mutas into lurkers with a third and then get Defilers a little bit later, and then it's like, wait a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh my god. Now, you might think... you might think I'm dead here. But you haven't seen anything yet, guys. And again, so I'm getting... I started 2 race. Not the optimal response. And I say, are you stupid? With a typo. Of course. Because at this point, I'm just like... I'm like, come on, man. So I threw out a little bit of BM here. my bad. My bad, guys. But tossed out a little bit of bad manner because I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is like, this is so cheesy. No one does this. And, you know, I'm thinking, like, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, I'm trying to play something that is meta-defining, meta-breaking, and this guy's already ruining it. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, really? Like, if I want to play somebody that actually, like, that I can show this is, like, viable against. But anyways, I managed to hold that off. So now the game goes into more of a normalish, chaotic game. Although sometimes in Brood War, the games don't exactly end up being very clean. I feel like a lot of StarCraft 2 games are very, like, clean in nature, crisp in terms of, like, stuff like this. In StarCraft 2, you would not come back. You would be dead. If something like this happened, the game would be over. But because of how Brood War is, it's a little tougher to end the game sometimes. Because of the way units move, you know, ramps, things like that. So I'm not dead. I do have 1/1 upgrades. And now I'm going 2 port vessels with, I only have 2 factories. I have 2 port vessels popping out. Getting my 3rd here. Obviously this 3rd would be a lot riskier in a normal situation. But, as it is, and microing vultures against the lings there. But as it is right now, my opponent, now, we're like even. He opened the game with a cheese, didn't kill me, so I'm getting back into the game. And I do have I don't think he has upgrades either. He does come out with mutas, he has defilers, lurkers. And I start moving out a little bit on the map here. 3 vessels with irradiate. And this I kind of messed up. I didn't realize that those were there. I mean, I knew they were there, but I thought I was in range. Micro that a little bit. I irradiate all the mutas. So I just completely reset his muta count here. And so guys, so this is something to say about, like, strats being viable. You'll notice I'm playing quite, quote-unquote, like, meta normalish right now. I'm just, you know, opening with the Goliath tank, like, standard Mech, vultures. And getting, you know, and I have 2 port vessel with Mech. Maybe that's slightly not meta-ish right now. But the point is, I'm not just rushing into battle cruisers or something. Like, I know how to play this game, guys. And for some reason, these little Brood War elitists think, like, you can't just rush it. It's not, the point is not to rush BCs. The point is to utilize them in your unit comp as a standard unit. So I start throwing down a wall here, making a lot of turrets. I have probably, what, like, at least 7 irradiates. So I'm trying to hunt down his mutas, which now he's trying to hunt down my vessels. This little cat and mouse game, he actually gets that one. I managed to save these. I was trying, and he flew away because he knew, he's like, oh, he's trying to irradiate me. Someone 4 base right now. Managed to secure this. Walling this off as well. So what is the goal of this, guys? And I'm building Valkyries as well. So what is the goal? The goal is to eventually add in battlecruisers into your standard unit comp with Mech. Very much like StarCraft 2 Terran. Now, what are the downsides of this? Why will it not work according to the Brood War elitists? Well, because of mass muta, but again, irradiate counters that. Valkyries counter that if you build them. Now, the funny thing is, I will admit, so guys, Terran vs. Terran, I made BC's work. First 3 games I've done it, 3 out of 3 wins. Because I mean, TVT is my best matchup, Brood War, StarCraft 2, I already was good at that. Like, I already knew how to make it work there. As a normal thing. Again, years ago I did that. TVP worked the first time due to just random luck. Now again, I left 4 Valkyries here. Look at this. Normally you'd be dead here, but look at this. I just left 4 Valkyries at this base. So that I mean, maybe if I had micro that a little better, all of these were dead. So I defended this base, and I almost defended this one. Almost. Not quite there, but I had a lot. So this is how you defend against the mass muta, guys. You get 4 to 6 Valkyries, and then if they fly in with mass muta, the Valkyries kill everything. So that's another thing that I'm working on here. So again, I'm building Valks and BCs right now. And he's actually building Guardians. Oh, so what I was gonna say, so TVT, I made this work 100% so far. TVP 1 time 100%, but I mean that was kind of luck, I'll admit. It just happened to work. Now TVZ, it took me 4 to 5 games of practice, and I lost, I think, all 4 prior to this, because I had to get back into the groove of things. I had to, like, get back into first of all, relearning the matchup a little bit. But a game. I'm gonna pause the game, or let's pause this real quick. The game before this, I was actually very close to winning, and this same thing happened. People actually were building devourers. I'm not even joking. So, like, as more people do this, as this as this flows into the meta a little bit, people actually build devourers. Like the last 2 games I tried this that I lost, I had in one of them, maybe I'll show that replay as well that I lost. I had like 8 to 10 BCs, and the guy actually built like 8 to 12 devourers. It was actually a really interesting game, even though I lost it. But again, people are gonna say that's why it won't work, because that's the answer to the BCs. They'll just build devour. But it does work if you have Irradiate, Valkyries, if you micro well, if you play it well, it will work. It's working right now. Again, it'll never work. It's not TVZ. It can't work. Well, you're watching a game, buddy. Little Brood War elitist watching this game. It's working so far. Yeah, but you're not gonna win the game with it. Oh, we'll see. We'll see. So again, the common Zerg response to this is to swap between mutas and hydras and even guardians and stuff can be useful. Now again, look at this. His air is actually 3/3. Like, this guy might have been a Smurf. He might be a Smurf. He has probably never seen this in his life. Or if he has seen it, he's seen it very rarely. Now I'm building battle. Now I'm actually building BCs. I'm still building vessels. Admittedly, it's about getting a good ratio of units. That's the thing that StarCraft 1... See, something that has been lacking, I feel like... And again, Brood War elitists that are listening to this are going to be crying. StarCraft... Let me pause this again here. Guys... StarCraft 1 players, let me tell you something real quick. You Brood War elitists, you don't know everything. You think you know everything, but I'm gonna tell you something, guys. I'm gonna tell you something to everybody listening. All the Brood War elitists out there, you're actually missing knowledge. You know why? Because you didn't play StarCraft 2. Uh-oh. That's right. Wait, what is that? Wait, what? What did I dare just say? StarCraft 1 players are missing game knowledge. That's right. You don't know everything about... I'm going to say something very controversial here. A StarCraft 2 player like myself that has many, many years prior playing Brood War before StarCraft 2 and now has years upon years of experience playing StarCraft 2 with all sorts of things like Skyterran, Sky Protoss, and like mass caster units like Ravens and such. My game knowledge is actually better than... If I had been playing StarCraft 1 this whole time, I might not even be able to think or comprehend. I might have been one of these Brood War elitists that I might have never done something like this because it would have seemed ridiculous to me if I was making air... Like, the thing with StarCraft 2 is air units are very powerful in StarCraft 2, but Valkyries, battlecruisers, vessels, and stuff, like, they do have a place in StarCraft 1 that is not being utilized in the current meta right now. So, StarCraft Brood War players are missing game knowledge. Look at this. I'm Yamatoing Guardians. Not that that's really necessary. I just wanted to kill them quicker. They die quickly enough just from the auto attacks. You actually want to save your Yamatos for Devourers. That's actually something that I learned from the last 5 games of doing this. You actually want to say... You really don't want to Yamato Guardians if you can help it. You want to save Yamatos for Devourers, and you want to save Yamatos for... in TVT, save them for tanks, not the Goliaths, because your tanks will kill their Goliaths. But again, if I had never played StarCraft 2, something like this would have not even popped up in my brain in terms of even trying. Like, I'm Yamatoing Ultras, by the way. And BCs with upgrades will one-shot Scourge. That's something They're really good against ultras too. Like their damage is explosive, I think. Whatever it is, they kill ultras really fast. Just something to remember. They are one-shotting Scourge. I missed micro here. Whoops. I missed micro that a little bit. I tried to attack. They don't stutter step as well as StarCraft 2 BCs. So again, this guy he's trying to use Guardians to deal with this. Valkyrie, I'm trying to repair. Kill the mute. Like, look at this. It's so cost efficient. I managed to keep the Valk alive, so hopefully that'll take out the Guardians here. Which it does. It's actually being repaired. Oh. But it does die to the Scourge. So again, it's not easy to do. This is gonna take some practice for Brood War people that haven't tried adding in BCs into their compositions. But for StarCraft 2 players, you guys, again, I'm not trying to roast Brood War players too hard here, but what I'm saying is, this is something that StarCraft 2 players have learned about late game. Oh, what I wanted to say is unit compositions. That's something that StarCraft 2 players do better than Brood War players. Brood War players don't really think about the game in terms of 200 supply unit comps. Brood War players think of the game more in terms of, I'm taking more bases than you, macroing, and making more stuff than you, which, to be fair, is probably the strongest way to play. But there is this way to play as well, which is very much my style, which is maxing out with a really good unit comp, especially with Terran, obviously with Mech, with Terran. So I'm thinking about the game more from a unit composition standpoint of getting a better unit comp than my opponent, rather than just outmassing them. And as you can see, would I have survived this attack here if I had been playing quote-unquote standard with Goliaths, Vultures, and only tanks? Maybe if I had enough tanks there, but the BCs cleaned that up really well. The Ultra just got shut down just hardcore. And at this point now, it's a matter of, like, I have turned this Brood War game into a StarCraft 2 game, basically. Like, now, I'm playing the game, unit compositionally, I'm attacking his gas count. He has 11,000 minerals. But I'm attacking his Vespian gas count. I'm being very efficient. The air units, the BCs, the Valkyries, the Radiates are dealing with, like, I'm killing his Vespian gas count little bit by little, just like I would in StarCraft 2. Whew! Being very efficient. A little bit of Ultra Micro for you guys right here. For you Brood War elitists. Yeah, that's right. I know how to micro. That's right. He can't do that! It's illegal! He's a StarCraft 2 player! How's he microing? StarCraft 2 players! It's the inferior game! There's no way... This is not Avilo, this is not real? BCs! This isn't real, this is not real. Right now, that guy in the YouTube comments from my last video, it's working, bro! It is working! That's right! It is work. It worked. Maybe it'll work TVT. Maybe it'll work TVP. I don't think it'll work TVC. It is working! It's working because I'm the god of mech, and I'm meching it happen, and I'm meching it work. I am breaking your game. I am breaking Brood War. How do you feel right now? And like, guys, the start of this video with the editing. You'll notice these Brood War elitists are delusional. They don't believe what's on their screen. They can't believe it. There's an excuse. The guy you're playing against isn't high ranked. You're on the wrong server. It's not where. He did the wrong thing in the wrong unit cup. This won't work if he does this or that. It's working. It's working. When will you begin to believe? When will you begin to open your mind to the possibilities? To the endless possibilities of the metagame before you that you have not explored because you're too scared. You're too scared. You have to You have to tell people why it won't work, why it can't work, why it's impossible, why it's unachievable. And I'm here to tell you it will work. It is possible. It is achievable. You can do it, bro! Motivational, let's go! Get motivated! You can make it, but he's not a proper opponent, but he's doing, no, that's not how I would, no, a pro wouldn't respond like, no! Stop it. All those things, all those negative things, all the Brood War elitists out there, like that guy in the comments saying all these negative things in your mind, stop it. You're being negative. Look at what's happening. Avilo is making it work in this game. Just look at what's happening on the screen. Believe it. It's real. It's happening. You can't deny it. You can't. It's like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, these players actually, when they start seeing the BC, they start making devout. It's very. This is like corruptors. This is, guys, I'm not joking. This is missing game knowledge. StarCraft 1 players do not have the experience playing this style or this part of the game, where suddenly the Terran actually has mass air, BCs, Valkyries, radiates. They're not used to it. So this guy is kind of making up. They're doing a response that I already have the answer. You know what? I played this for years. You know what this is? This is StarCraft 2 in Brood War right now. This is the StarCraft 2 meta, the air meta. So I already understand. Those Brood War elitists out there, you don't have this knowledge. You lack this knowledge. You are inferior to StarCraft 2 players. How does it feel? Not inferior, but you're just lacking out. Why are you lacking this knowledge? Because you kept your mind closed for this many years. You didn't want to play StarCraft 2. You thought it was inferior. But guess what? This situation happens all the time. Air versus Corruptors and Brood Lords. Brood Lord Corruptor. That's what this is. So how do you beat this? A StarCraft Brood War elitist might not understand that once you take out the Brood Lords, the Guardians, he has no more anti-ground, and then the Devourers are vulnerable to your Goliaths, or your Thors, or your Cyclones, or your your ground units. So that's how you beat this. You have to mess up the ratios of their unit composition. StarCraft 1 players, you don't have this knowledge. You're inferior. I want you, if you're a StarCraft Brood War elitist that has never played StarCraft 2 in your life, I want you to look at the screen right now, and I want you to say to admit it. Not that you're inferior, but you have more to learn. You have more to explore in this game that you didn't know was possible. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to insult the Brood War elitists, to be honest, but you don't have this knowledge. So there's two ways to handle this. You kill the Guardians or you kill the Devourers. If I kill the Guardians, then he has to spend more gas building more Guardians. If I kill the Devourers, then he's not able to defend the gas in Guardians. See what I mean? There's two ways to fight this composition with what I have with the mass air. Now I actually decided that I didn't have enough here to fight this, so I decided I'm gonna counter. So I just counterattacked. And right now my comp is my gas composition is actually superior to his gas composition. So he's messed up. He's running out of estimated gas. I just killed all this. Like, look at this. I Yamato the Nidus, so he can't get reinforcements as easily. I'm killing being very efficient, killing gas. So now, he doesn't have the answer to the BCs anymore. What he does, the Devourers, I should have irradiated those. Just like you would Raven Secret Missile Corruptors, I'm irradiating the Devourers. So again, all I have to do is kill one half of this air army. If I kill the Devourers, he has to spend gas rebuilding them. Because he won't be able to protect these. If I kill the Guardians, like if I sack units to kill those, he keeps the Devourers alive, but then he has no anti-ground. So it's like, you know, there's, again, this is StarCraft 2 knowledge. Like, look, these can't shoot ground. He can kill the BCs, but he can't kill the Goliaths now. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of something like this, and having that StarCraft 2 game knowledge of of rotational unit compositions. Brood War players do not have this knowledge yet. Yeah, I believe this is something that will shift into the meta in Brood War. It'll take a little bit of time, and by time I mean like after this VOD is posted, maybe like another month or two, we'll start seeing more things like this in Brood War. Like again, I'm building Valkyries because the remainder of his gas he's making mass mutas, so it's natural. As a StarCraft 2 player, I just see this, I'm like, alright, I still have Irradiates, but I'll just build Valkyries, like. And again, you might be wondering, like, why is his comp was so weird, Guardians, Devourers, like, he did that as a response to the BCs. So again, guys, you'll notice he has 7,000 minerals. Now, this is very familiar to StarCraft 2 players, where the Zerg runs out of gas. And sure, maybe that happens sometimes in StarCraft Brood War as well, but it's not as common. Now, look at this. Breaking Brood War, guys. Normally, the Guardians right there. Normally, like, that might have been tough to deal with normally, but I'm playing the StarCraft 2 air meta in Brood War. I have Valkyries, I have BCs, so 10 to 12 Guardians over your cliff, that's very deadly in Brood War. Like, any Brood War player knows Guardians over top of the cliff is really frustrating because of the unit pathing, but guess what? Air units don't have pathing, bro. So I just took those out with my own air units. So, the StarCraft 2 meta of air to air, Brood War players will learn. They'll catch on. Like, Valkyries, I know people, like, that's not a new thing. People started doing that a couple of years ago, actually building Valkyries to counter mutas. Specifically, like, the initial mutas. But, as the, Brood, guys, alright, now, let me tell you something the Brood War elitists will like to hear. Your game is not being developed. The meta's not done. It's just getting started. In 2021, you guys are about to have some meta developments that you've like, again. Look at it. I took out the last mutas. He has nothing left. He has 6k minerals. He's dead. Checkmate. And he leaves the game. So, it works. I made it work. I mech'd it. It works. Like, I'm actually, I'm so proud of this game, even though, you know, it's just one game of StarCraft, just one game of Brood War. But I made it work. I was meching it happen, man. Like, this game, I mean, it started off with a Defiler, a weird 2-ace Defiler Lurker all in, kind of like blind countering Goliaths. Maybe that's something that people are doing, like, they're just blind countering that. But I actually made this work. I brought this meta development to Brood War. This is viable. And here's the thing, I didn't even do this as perfectly as I could. I could have done this even better. This is, like, and I guarantee you, if a player like myself that only has played 10 to 12 games in the last years, like, in the last week, I played, I think, like, 10 games, at max 10 games. I played my placements, and then I played, like, 5, 6, 7, maybe I played, like, 12 or 13 games, but I played at least, I know I played at least 10 games or so, and this was one of those games. If a player like me is able to do this with my limited practice time recently, imagine what some of the pros can do with this, starting to implement this into their mid and late game games, the battle cruisers and the Valkyries, and like the StarCraft 2 air transition with Mech against Zerg, and again it works against Terran. Against Protoss, I think, to be honest, out of all three matchups, this is least viable against Protoss. I think this is definitely viable against Zerg. Viable against Terran, 100%. Viable against Zerg, 100%. Viable against Protoss. Now, I did show that game where I won, but I think that was a little bit of dumb luck. Or, like, that was kind of like I caught the guy off guard. Like, it was one of those things where, like, if you're playing a best out of 3, you know how, like, you might make something wacky work in a best out of 3? I think maybe in a best out of series, it's kind of like Bio against Protoss. If you see the Protoss going carriers, you can make, like, Mass Marine medic timing work against Protoss. Does that mean it's viable every game? Not necessarily, but it is something that you could pull off against Protoss, perhaps in a best out of, you know, X series. So, yeah, guys. Appreciate it. I had, even though I haven't been streaming, I had to upload this. I had to because, it was a sick game. It was a sick game, and also that YouTube comment, and, you know, just working on some video editing as well. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, leave comments, subscribe, be nice to the Brood War elitists. They're still learning. They're still opening their minds. StarCraft 2 players, you guys know. You see, guy. You know what I would like? You know what I would like from the Brood War elitists? I'd like some respect to our StarCraft 2 brethren. StarCraft 2 players respect Brood War at how difficult of a game it is, but it seems like the Brood War elitists don't show that mutual respect back to the to StarCraft 2 players. And maybe it's because it's kind of understandable. Most StarCraft 2 players can't play Brood War, admittedly, because Brood War is a more difficult game. As a former Brood War elitist, and Brood War player, I can say that. So Brood War is definitely a more difficult game, guys. But if you do have the base mechanics, if most people that do learn the base mechanics of Brood War, like I already have, and then play StarCraft 2, can bring that knowledge back to Brood War, and, you know, both ways work. Both games are definitely learnable. StarCraft 2 is easier mechanically. It's more difficult in other ways, like in terms of unit comp. Like, again, this composition, this rotational unit comp of, like, ground into air, back into ground, and into having enough anti-air to deal with this. Brood War players really don't. That's something Brood War players, again, you guys don't know that as well. You might know about it, but you don't really utilize it as much. Whereas, because StarCraft Brood War is more of a ground-to-ground, action-packed fighting, like, ground army versus ground, whereas StarCraft 2 a lot of times turns into the mass air shenaniganry. Anyways, thanks for watching. Leave likes, subscribe, leave comments, and I'll just leave you with this thought, this closing thought. It works. It works, buddy. It works. I will see you later. It works. Peace out, peeps.
Why I don't see it currently working.